It's the last Wednesday of the month of August in the year 2023. Good morning, and you're watching the first bulletin of the day on TV3 here on New Day. My name is Josh Quinn. Top of the stories this morning. Election Committee of Governing New Patriotic Party to conduct full-scale investigation into alleged assault of polling agents during Super Delegates Conference. Also coming up this morning, President Akufo-Addo cautions maritime rating organizations over inaccurate reportage as it can impact a nation's global trade participation. MP flag-bearer aspirant Alan Kyerematen speaks publicly for the first time after Saturday's Super Delegates Conference. And Wagner chief buried in private funeral. We've got details of these and many more coming up in the next 20 minutes if you spend your time with me. Let's begin with some international news, but here in Africa, a group of senior Gabonese military officers have appeared on national television declaring they have seized power, claiming the recent general election lacks credibility and saying they represent all Gabon's security and defense forces. And they said the election results were cancelled, all borders closed until further notice, and state institutions dissolved. Loud sounds of gunfire could be heard in the capital, Libreville, a Reuters reporter said after the television appearance. It was not immediately possible to reach the government for comment. In the name of the Gabonese people, we've decided to defend the peace by putting an end to the current regime, the officer said on television. Gabon's incumbent president, Ali Bongo, won a third term in the presidential election with 64.27% of the vote, the Gabonese Election Center said on Wednesday, after a delay-plagued general election that the opposition denounced as fraudulent. Announcing the result in the early hours, the elections head, Michael Stefan Bonda, said Bongo's main challenger, Albert Ondo Osa, came second with 30.77%. Bongo's team rejected Onda Osa's allegations of electoral irregularities. We'll be following up on this very development and surely update you in our subsequent bullet. But there are some reactions to this. Now, the New Patriotic Party says it will conduct a full-scale investigation into the alleged assault of some polling agents during the Super Delegates Conference. The election committee of the party held a marathon meeting with some candidates who contested the election. My colleague Judith Awatritando has more.
And so an almost 8-hour-long period of deliberation has finally come to an end, with some flag-bearer aspirants as well as representatives venting their displeasure over a number of issues that occurred during the MPP Super Delegates Congress last Saturday.
A lot of people are not happy with the Northeast issue. I think the Nanarugu issue is the only region that something did not go well. And I think there's going to be further investigation to basically ascertain.
The meeting involved representatives from the Aland and the Efia Koto camps, as well as Kojo Poko himself. And of course, one of the biggest contenders, Kennedy Agyapong, came along with a vehicle full of evidence. And after hours, he refused to utter a word on the outcome. But while we await the recommendations, the national chairman of the party, Stephen Ayesu, and team did not mince words when he stated that all persons who were found culpable of attacks will be punished for their actions.
That's one. Disciplinary measures will be put in place, investigations will be conducted, and if somebody is found to be culpable, discipline will be meted out accordingly.
Now, spokesperson for the election committee, Afenyo Markings, however, says another meeting is bound to be held.
They had an opportunity to give us a full report of what happened. We are going to meet some other members again on Thursday. We also had an opportunity to meet with one of the aspirants who made certain statements, which statement went viral, and had a positive engagement with him. And I must say that so far, so good.
For now, we await recommendations from the election committee as well as the final verdict of the party on whether or not another electoral college will be held.
It's just a matter of prevailing on them to, if one could give in to the other. But it looks like they are all prepared to go the full haul. So we are getting ready to meet tomorrow, National Council. NEC will meet, followed by National Council, and then trying to find a solution.
Judith Awachitando, TV3 News, MPP Headquarters, Accra.
Let's still stay in the camp of the NPP because flag bearer aspirant of the New Patriotic Party, Alan Kyerematen, has broken his silence on the attack on his agent in last Saturday's Super Delegates Conference. According to him, going forward, the incident would not be tolerated.
East Region agent who was allegedly attacked during the Super Delegates Conference. The flag bearer aspirant who placed third in the election said he will not countenance any such behavior going forward.
What happened to my colleague on Saturday was an act of total indiscipline and indecent behavior. How do we, as a decent party, going into an election, particularly at the level of superdelegates, superintend such behavior? I mean, look, we all joined the NPP because of our commitment to the values of the party. But what is happening clearly shows that this is not what we bargained for by joining the party. I'm not going to tolerate this kind of behavior. It doesn't make sense.
His agent, Zakaria Ali, narrated his ordeal.
The third person was the regional youth organizer. He voted and displayed his vote. So I confronted him and told him, my brother, that is not the way, the rule of the game. We are told that no one should use a phone to snap when you vote. Secondly, we have been told that no one should vote and display his vote. Oh, when I said he picked a plus chair and hit me, so I blocked him this way. So it hit my hand. The national coordinator also rushed and hit me. So I saw that I was bleeding from my elbow. So when that happened, it was my MP, MP for Chirapone, Honorable Razak Tahiru. He came to rescue me.
The police is yet to make any arrests.
Still in the camp of Alan Kyerematen, it has declared its intention to participate in the NPP flag bearer election scheduled for November 4 with their own security personnel. This decision comes as a response to what they perceive as security threat and violations during the superdelegates voting process that took place on Saturday, August 26. The spokesperson for the Alan team, Richard Nyama, emphasized that the police in the Northeast region abandoned them during the attack on their polling.
Incident happened. I first and foremost sought the view of the regional police commander who was in the hall when the event happened. There were more than 20 policemen in the assembly hall when that happened. Not a single one of them intervened. And that makes them accomplices, because for somebody to be assaulted to that extent and you had all those number of policemen and nobody was interested, something must have been going on for them not to intervene. He was like, my guy caused it. Why was he snatching the ballot paper from the person? Now somebody is breaking the law and he is stopping him from doing it, and then you are accusing him of that. The threats increased, and I tried telling the commander that, look, I will need police protection and escort out of here. He told me that his focus was on the ballot box. So I remember actually calling Anao Hinin to inform the IGP that this is what is his commander, regional commander, has told me, and that if anything happens to me or any of my colleagues, his commander himself will be held responsible. And that's where I left it. I will have my own security on the day. If the party wants us to believe in the security systems they put in place, they themselves have to show leadership. They don't gang up against one candidate or the other candidates in favor of somebody and you expect us to sit down with our hands at our back. It's not going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Not anymore.
Well, if you're just tuning in, you're watching the first bulletin of the day here on TV3 on New Day. And more news this morning. An unsuccessful NPP flag bearer contestant, Kojo Nsafo-Opoku, is calling for the resignation of the Northeast Regional Minister, Hussaini Nuruddin, over his alleged involvement in a clash during the Special Delegates Conference. And the energy analyst while describing the entire process as 99% successful, said happenings in the Northeast region cast a blot on the voting process. Take a listen.
Safo Poku, who garnered 3 votes, accounting for 0.33% of total votes cast, expressed content with the process. However, he also called for the resignation of Nuruddin Hussaini, the Northeast Regional Chairman of the NPP, citing his alleged supervision of a clash in his region during the contest.
The assessment of the election on Saturday was 99% successful. The only blemish on the election is the Northeast election, where there was violence, and we don't think that the Northeast election was free and fair. Some of us really feel strongly that the Northeast issue should be highlighted. I have called on the president to make the Northeast minister resign, because he witnessed the violence that went on there and did nothing about it, and the regional minister and the regional chairman should be called to account in that instance.
His optimism about securing a top 5 spot was not realized, but he extended well wishes to the 5th place contestants and urged delegates to make prudent choices.
It's an election that the two of them basically have to drag it out. It's not about us, any of the 10 aspirants supporting any of them at this stage. I think they are confident and they are able to basically go and tell the delegates who between the two to be part of the 5. I don't think they need, they have our blessing. They are our colleagues, but I think the delegates will basically come out and choose one person.
Away from the NPP, the Deputy Chairman of the National Commission for Civic Education, Samuel Asari Ekwuamo, has proposed that the Electoral Commission provides mobile vans for registering persons in remote communities during limited voter registration. He was reacting to the Commission's decision to conduct the registration only at district offices.
The Electoral Commission is going to do the exercise at the district centers, even though they are going to provide backup machines or many more machines at the centers. People who qualify to register may have to travel all the way to the centers to be captured. What is the incentive? What is the motivation for that young guy who has turned 18 kilometers away to board commercial transport to the center to come and register, when in fact he has a Ghana card? Because in the past, the motivation was that the voter's ID card was used for other things other than elections. So people will spend money to go and get it. Now they have a Ghana card, which they can use for the other things. So if this is a voter for elections, and he thinks he doesn't need it, he will go. So we need to motivate them. It is mandatory that we provide the access. I have suggested and I have appealed to the EC that they may even create mobile centers to, take up those who are far away in the populous areas where they may not be motivated to come to the center to register. So that the mobile van that will go to that periphery of the district will be a sort of motivation for them to offer themselves for the registration.
Away from issues related to elections, let's move to the presidency, because President Akufo-Addo has warned maritime rating organizations to be cautious of inaccurate reportage as it can impact a nation's global trade participation. He acknowledges their contributions to international shipping, but clarifies that petty theft incident cannot be equated with piracy in the context of international maritime law definition. He was speaking at the opening of the 3rd Annual Maritime Defense Exhibition and conference at Burma Camp here in Accra. The 2-day conference, attended by 300 participants from 22 countries, aims to address maritime security issues on Africa's blue economy. It will showcase the latest technologies and provide resolutions and recommendations to overcome challenges. President Akufo-Addo criticized maritime rating agencies for portraying events in the Gulf of Guinea as gloomy.
Government will continue with its naval infrastructure construction policy to improve the Navy's maritime response time. Government will continue supporting the Maritime Authority, the Ports and Harbors Authority, the fisheries sector, the various institutions in the oil and gas sector, and the entire maritime industry, with policies, equipment, training, and resources as part of maritime security capacity building.
a national integrated maritime strategy to address challenges in Ghana's maritime domain, focusing on blue economy sectors and ensuring safe and secure maritime operations, was also launched. By prioritizing truthfulness and working towards maintaining a peaceful environment, Togbe Apade believes the traditional leaders can play a significant role in steering their regions towards progress and prosperity. Togbe Apade emphasized that the path to development is illuminated by the practice of truthfulness, which in turn promotes stability and helps to mitigate conflicts. Take a listen.
I've always believed that development is not possible without peace. The desire to help to strengthen peace, anything in Ghana, is a reason why as people have embarked on various fraternal visits across the country. We believe we have to work together to strengthen our peace. And over the next couple of years, I work hard towards the resolution of the major outstanding chieftaincy conflicts in the country. But of course, we the chiefs must work together to ensure that it will require honesty on our part. If we all thread the path of strictest honesty, there will not be disputes. Whenever there are disputes, somebody will tell the truth. So I encourage our chiefs to hold on to the path of strictest honesty so we can establish peace on the chieftaincy front and also find a cause of peace across our country and our continent.
And now to agriculture. An executive director of the Peasant Farmers Association, Dr. Charles Nyaba, has described the second phase of the government's Planting for Food and Jobs program as timely. Dr. Nyaba believes the new design of the program is likely to yield positive results in the agricultural sector if properly implemented.
According to Dr. Charles Nyaba, the first phase of the program was poorly implemented, hindering its success.
The launch of PFG2 is timely because PFG1, apart from the 2017 and 2018 implementation, the rest of the years, nothing was actually being done. It got to a point, you agree with me, that government could not even pay importers. Government owns so much that the importers refuse to deliver the inputs. And once you already made farmers know that subsidized inputs will be coming and it doesn't come, they will not be willing to buy the open market inputs which were available.
However, he is optimistic that the second phase will encourage Ghanaian youth into farming and help reduce unemployment.
One of the major constraints that is discouraging new farmers, young people who just complete tertiary institutions from going to farming is difficulty access to credit. You are a young person, you don't even have the starter capital. Yes, when you go to the bank, they are asking for collateral. But I'm told, per the strategic document of the PFG2, that private sector actors will be giving credit guarantee letters to go to the bank and then take credit. Then when they produce, they will pay later whilst the banks pay those service providers. That's fantastic.
Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 is a 5-year program which aims to transform agriculture in Ghana by focusing on modernization, improved service delivery, active private sector participation, and substituting direct input subsidies with smart agricultural financial support in the form of comprehensive input credit with provision for in-kind payments.
And our economist, Dr. Sir Idrisu, is impressing on successive government to support Ghanaian youths to enter into commercial farming. According to him, the capital requirement for commercial farming is beyond the capacity of the youth and will require assistance.
I am calling on successive government. Any government that will come in 2025 onwards should be able to take agriculture seriously, so that we'll be able to divert the attention of the youth into agriculture with support. I am saying this because agriculture is expensive in our part of the world in terms of tractor, in terms of fertilizers and other inputs. Government support will be able to help the youth to be able to start their own large-scale farms, so that we will have enough to feed the nation and also think of exporting. Look at what is happening in Nigeria right now. It has led to onions prices increasing in the market, which to me is unfortunate, when we could even cultivate onions on our own in Ghana.
And now to the foreign front. Wagner chief has been buried in a private funeral in St. Petersburg. His press services said the ceremony in his home city was held in a closed format, and all those wishing to say goodbye can visit the cemetery. The mercenary chief was confirmed dead by Russian officials after genetic analysis of 10 bodies found in a crashed plane on 23rd August near Moscow. The Kremlin has denied speculation it was to blame for the crash, but a number of Russia watchers, both in the country and abroad, have prescribed the Wagner chief as a dead man walking since an aborted armed mutiny he led back in June. All 10 people on board, including him, died in the crash in the Tver region northwest of Moscow. Like I indicated in our earlier story, a group of senior Gabonese military officers have appeared on national television declaring they've seized power, claiming the recent general election lacks credibility and saying they respect all Gabon security and defense forces. They said the election results were cancelled, all borders closed until further notice, and state institutions dissolved. Loud sounds of gunfire could be heard in the capital, Libreville. A Reuters reporter said after the television appearance, it was not immediately possible to reach the government for comment. And Gabon's incumbent president, Ali Bongo, won a third term in the presidential election with 64.27% of the vote, the Gabonese Election Center said on Wednesday, after a delay-plagued general election that the opposition denounced as fraudulent. And so there have been some reactions coming through, and I just want to read one from Osajefo Oliver Baker Voma, who says, I welcome the news of a successful coup this dawn in Gabon. A peaceful coup has just done what elections have not been able to achieve in over 50 years of the Bongo family dynasty. The coup declares as invalid Tuesday election results, which claimed that the very sick Ali Bongo had won the elections yet again from his hospital bed. Next stop, Togo then. And so on that note, we end the morning news. For more news updates, you'd want to log on to our website, s3news.com. Let me share this quote with you this morning. The day you plant the seed is not the same day you harvest the fruit. Thanks for watching, and good to see you, my guys. Cookie, Roland, and Ashako. Good morning, guys.
Hi.
I love this particular
Good morning.
What did he say?
He said that the day you plant the seed is not
it's
the
not the
same
day
you
you harvest the fruit. It's an abstract, what's the name, quote. In short, it wants to tell you that just be patient in life.
Yeah, it's true.
There's time for everything.
I agree. I love this one. Where did this one come from? This
one, I captured myself.
Through life's experiences, right? Yeah, life's experiences.